And we are live. Greetings and salutations, Focus Up family. Welcome to the May 2023 episode of the Focus Up Show. We thank you for tuning in with us live every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on YouTube and various other platforms and catching up with us on replay. And we ask that you click that like, that subscribe, that bell, and share to support and maintain your weekly Focus Up fix. I am Mr. Nice Guy, as in nice, as in the word saint spelled backwards. And my co-hosts are the lovely First Lady J, infamous El Pooh, and Brother Floyd X. We're looking out for Walk. You know, maybe he's gonna show up or something, but we apologize for that. But how you doing this morning, First Lady J?
I'm great. Thanks for asking. Hope you fellas are well.
Straight, Brother El Pooh. What it do?
Hey, yes, sir. Blessed and happy to be here once again.
Brother Floyd X, I take it you're gonna be on the camera more with the other brother.
Yes,
MIA.
yes. I'm gonna be on camera. I just want to say I like having a rush to start the show. It gives me a burst of energy. Be like, oh man, let's go. I'm ready to go. Let's go.
Let's do that.
Let's go.
So in the news, our first thing we're gonna talk about is Brother Malcolm X. All right.
Malcolm X.
That's right. Now, let me just say that Malcolm X, my love and respect for him, I can't even begin to touch. Malcolm X and Bruce Lee are the two greatest sort of like non-biblical characters in my life. But this brother, he meant everything to me as far as just thinking rationally, logically, looking for ourselves, doing for ourselves. This brother is the template. He was an absolute black hero for us, and we salute his life and his legacy.
Salute. Hey, I found this other picture. It looked more recent. When was this picture?
Yeah, he was out in the sun too long on that
one. Nah, I'm bullshitting. Salute to the minister, Malcolm X, who joined the nation back in the day and was brought so many people into the nation and had a mass movement, inspired so many people in the Nation of Islam. I believe he was in there for like 10 years, moving all through the city, from state to state, city to city, bringing people, waking people up, getting them woke, getting them ready to move, and getting them wanting to take action and unite as black people. And even though he fell out with the Nation of Islam, he continued to move on and do his thing and represent for black people. He was subsequently murdered by the CIA, not the Nation of Islam.
My goodness.
Let's go there. He was murdered by the CIA and the FBI. They killed that man, even though there was infiltrated members in the Nation of Islam who did it, but they killed them. So, don't blame the nation.
You forgot to wear your by any means necessary shirt today.
Oh my goodness.
Any means necessary. That's right.
We're gonna have this discussion, but we're not gonna have this discussion now because I want to body you and Walk when I do that.
Go. It's apparent that you still believe the lie. You still believe the lie.
And I believe what Malcolm was saying, and I also believe what the brother Khalid Muhammad was saying. So, but again, we don't want to go there. When we go there, we're gonna go there. But I still respect the nation. I still respect Farrakhan. I still respect that whole movement, and I appreciate what they did. And without that, there wouldn't be no Malcolm. That's a fact.
Right. That's right.
But Malcolm gave us more than just that. So when I salute that.
He would have been 97 years old yesterday. Wow. Yesterday was his birthday. He would have been 97 years old. Salute to that brother.
Salute.
And on that same note, we lost another brother. That's Brother Jim Brown. Now, this dude was one of the greatest football players ever but he was the type. He was not a shut up and dribble type. This is a person that not only went into movies, but he went into activism, and he was being a force on the streets and gang choosing, late in his life. So this is a brother who was about it. It was a great success story, and a black champion, and we salute his life, and we appreciate him, and and there you saw that picture. Just think about that. Look, you got Bill Russell, you got Muhammad Ali, you got Jim Brown, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. These are four persons that never just shut up and dribble. These are people that are about the struggle.
All those in the back, those are other athletes also, right? And they all came together, if I'm not mistaken, was to stand behind Muhammad Ali because he was going through a whole bunch of things that with the government was trying to come down on him because he changed his name and became a Muslim. So they want to show a show of unity, standing behind him. So much respect to them brothers. Much respect to Jim Brown. Salute the brother. He was a dedicated in the community of LA. He always had like community programs for the youth. I hear the story from many, many, many artists. They could tell you stories about how they went to Jim Brown house and he coached them and counseled them and talked to them and told them or instructed them how they could be a benefit to their community, use their stardom to be a benefit to their community. He sat down with a bunch of them and had all these different programs, particularly in the city of LA, in that area. So much respect to that brother, Jim Brown.
Not only just stars, he took regular, brothers from the streets, gang members and, underprivileged youth and stuff like that. Yeah. And, it showed them, the other side of life too. So everything that he did with the stars, he did with regular people too. He was a big influence out here in these streets. That's why I really know him by, because I wasn't around for his football career. And the crazy thing is he stopped playing football at the height of his career to do his movie career, actually, to get into Hollywood. And then when he got to Hollywood, that's where he started, really advocating and doing all the other stuff that he did too. So salute to that man.
Yes, sir. That brother retired in 1966, years before I was born. And he was inducted into the Hall of Fame, according to my brother, Mr. Nice Guy, 2 years before I was born. He was already in the Hall of Fame. So salute to that brother.
That's and if amazing. You look at some highlights, he was a beast.
Beast.
Jim Brown. Yep, I was in the barbershop. We was talking about with legendary football players, and it was hard to come up with names. The only ones that we could come up with was OJ and Jim Brown and a few others, but they was nowhere near the level of Jim Brown and OJ. Y'all gonna leave it right there?
Well, I'm gonna say that when you talk about running backs, you also got to talk about Sweetness, Walter Payton, and you got to talk about Earl Campbell. But but still,
throw Barry Sanders up in there.
There's a few.
His name was put out there, Barry Sanders. Cool. And then next
all right,
up.
So what else do we have in the news?
We got this this Caucasian lady. She liking some threatening words from a big black man and said, calling her, how do you word that, Mr. Nice Guy? I forget what she said.
He called her a white nationalist. And she said that calling her a white nationalist is like calling a black person an N-word, which I got to tell you is extremely offensive and ridiculous. And you know what? Let's just address the whole Karen thing too, because some people will say calling a white person a Karen is the equivalent of calling a black person an N-word. And you got to understand that when you're saying that a person is a white nationalist, you're saying that is a person that believes that they are better than everybody else. So that put down is that they think they are better than everybody else. When you call somebody a Karen, you're talking about behavior. You're talking about behavior. Sorry, you're talking about a person who's acting a certain way. So you're criticizing behavior. When you're calling somebody the N-word, you're saying that you are part of a race that is the least of us. It's an absolute put down. You are subhuman. You are an ignorant person. You are an ignorant being. This is a way more gross criticism. I always talk about the three magic words. It's the F word, the B word, and the N word. These are words that transcend the particular gender or sexuality or race that they're applying to. They're actually referring to something that's less than whatever it is that a person is talking about. So that's why these are the worst of the worst words. And Karen and white nationalists just do not compare.
White
What you
nation.
got to say about that, First Lady?
Woof. Mouth.
I didn't mean to catch you off guard.
No,
But
I actually had an experience with someone that I would consider a Karen, and everything you said was on point. You hit some bullet points. You know, the Karens are definitely a behavior thing. It doesn't have it's you can't compare it to the N word or the white supremacy as you mentioned. Um, I disagree with the woman totally about her comment altogether. Um, Karen to me is not derogatory like the N word. Karen is actually a name. You can Google names and you're gonna see a female and a name, so forth. So it's not derogatory, it's a name. So you should be happy that's all that was given to you, other than like you said, cracker or so forth. I can go on and on. So yeah, he's out of line.
Okay.
Yeah.
what you got to say about that, Floyd X?
First Lady, I kind of agree with you, but when you say it's not derogatory, I think that most people use it in a derogatory term.
They use it in a derogatory term, but it's not equivalent to the N word.
Oh, it's not equal. I agree with that part.
He's saying
That's the
it's not
part I agree with.
it's not objectively derogative. It's used derogatively, but whereas the N word is objectively derogative.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Explain that to me because you lost me. Objectively, I'm not.
Well,
Go
see,
ahead.
you can use something to describe something that's bad, but then you have something that on its face it's bad. It's not something that you're using because you can use a Karen. Karen can be a positive thing. If you're just talking about, hey, my name is Karen, you go, hey, I know Karen, she's cool. So the bottom line is it has in itself, it's not a derogatory thing. It's basically how it's used. It would be derogatory. If a person is acting like a Karen, then that's it's the context. But
So
there's
that's negative, right?
Huh? It's
negative.
It's a negative context. It's derogatory, but it has to be used in that way. Whereas the N word, it's no context is needed. It's an absolute negative, terrible thing.
See, now I agree more. I disagree more. I disagree more because if we use the N word in the positive, does that make it equated now?
It's first of all, because you're using a negative thing in a positive light. That's sort of like saying, actually, I'm not even going to go there because I'm about to say bad meaning good, but I think about Run DMC. But my point is that you can use anything out of context of what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's what a metaphor is.
So what we're talking about is the action, the use and the action. If you're using it, wait, listen. If you're using it, you can use it in a negative sense, just like you can use the N word in a negative sense. You can use it in a positive sense, just like you can use the N word in a positive sense. So they are equal. I agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene.
No.
Is it going to be equal? Let me ask this question. Let me see if I can word it right without being caught off guard. Okay, so for instance, like the males, they're starting to call them Kens. You have a doll on the shelf, the Ken doll. Do you have a doll on the shelf with the N word?
No.
So and the Ken doll is not necessarily some people look at it as a positive. Because I'm saying there are different applications of it, but this is my point to deal with what you're saying, Floyd. Is you got to understand, you can use a word however you want to use it, but when I say something is objective, that means that regardless of the content or the use of it, the negativity is there. Karen is not negative in its very fundamental existence, whereas the N word is absolutely negative in its very existence. It was originally a put down, and I understand that some people use it as a badge of honor, to use it whatever. It's still a negative, even if they're using it in a quote unquote positive or in a neutral fashion. It's still an ugly word, and it's a word that obviously comes off completely different when you and I say it versus one of them say it. So, there's a difference to it. Do you understand the difference between the objectivity, something that's the actual object? Like, for example, water is wet. That is just an objective trait of water. But the fact that you can use water for other things, water can be used to survive because you need it to live off of, but you can also drown somebody in it. So despite it has these multiple applications of it, what it fundamentally is what it fundamentally is. And I'm saying that Karen is not fundamentally this negative use for it. If you look at the definition of Karen in the dictionary, it's going to be one of the numbers or whatever. It may not even be the first number. Maybe it has been reshuffled. But that N-word, that negative thing, that's going to be definition number one.
All right, well, let's just get to the bottom of it. You call somebody a Karen, you are calling them that to offend them. You call somebody an N-word, you're calling them that to offend them.
But you're defending them. You're offending them because of their behavior. And one thing, you're offending them because of their existence. That's different.
Same usage, though.
Wait. No. Think about it.
If I call you, hey, look at me, why you acting like such a N-word? Offended you. Why you acting like such a Karen? Offended you. Same thing. You looking for, when you speaking it, you looking for the same result, to offend.
Well, no. I wouldn't be using it. Me personally, I wouldn't use any of these things to offend somebody. I'd be using to categorize a particular behavior. It's not about, I want to make you feel bad. I'm saying, look, there's this thing called a Karen, and you're doing that right now. You're acting like a Karen. So it's not about offending. I mean, to me, that's like childish. I'm not going to be sitting here calling somebody something just to trigger an emotion out of them. I'm using it because it's a more eloquent explanation of something that I'm trying to express.
So can I say one thing?
How many people would get up? Oh, can you hear me?
Turn your mic up. You sound low.
Testing.
Check. Okay, hold on. Okay. How many people would get offended by being called a Karen as opposed to being called an N-word? The N-word has been around for hundreds of years. Karen is something that's relatively new. Some people wouldn't even know that's an offensive term. And also, let me say this too. Why are we even debating something from Marjorie Taylor Greene, who looks like a Ronald McDonald drag queen? It's all about controversy. I mean, come on, man.
That's Marjorie Taylor Greene.
And there she is being threatened by that black man, where that whole discussion came out of.
She's being threatened, but she's all up in his face.
Exactly.
Jamal Bowman. I don't know if he's a representative or I'm not sure his title.
Yeah, I think he's the same thing as she is. A rep.
He's a Karen too? No,
yeah. and yeah, she's worse than a Karen. Shoot, she's like, there's a whole different thing. But again, you do understand the difference between, because see, a Karen is not even a function of a race. Again, it's a function.
All right, you're taking too much time to explain it to me.
No, you need to.
Me look dumb.
Are you tapping out? Are you tapping out? Don't
That's
be
enough.
You tapping.
That's enough. All right, let's move on to the Lake show. Go Lakers! Are we still Team Lakers? Are we still gonna get it?
Hey, check this out. Check this out. I'm not gonna tell you whether we taking it or not, but this is the reality. The playoffs do not start until you win on the other team's court. So what Denver has done is they've hold serve. Now the burden is on the Lakers to do the same. If the Lakers hold these two games, ain't gonna be no discussion about what. Ultimately, the Lakers are gonna have to take a game in Denver, So we'll see how that plays out. But you see that game one, they could have won, they shouldn't have won, but they could have won. Game two, they should have won, they didn't win. But LeBron James, quit heaving up them threes. That dude is like 1-20 in threes in the fourth quarter, and then just turning over the ball, missing dunks and fumbling and all of that stuff. Look, this dude is doing amazing things late in the game at his age, but acknowledge your limitations, defer if you need to. What you got to say about that, brother Floyd X?
I feel like they got a solid team. I want them to win. I don't know what happened to the last game. I know they play again tonight. They better win tonight. If they don't win tonight, I'm gonna have my doubts. Gonna be real. Like, oh, they're not gonna get it. They're not gonna get it because I know it's not typical for a team to win 3-4 in a.
It's never been done. No one has gone up 3 games and came back in the NBA. Okay. So going 3-0, yeah. That's been a death knell in the NBA.
Okay. Well, I want them to win it, but I'm still Team Lakers on mine. Still Team Lakers on mine.
What you got to say about that, First Lady?
It's not over till the fat lady sings.
That's right.
He is warming up. I hear. Let me say this. I got to say just one thing. LeBron, you can't miss a breakaway dunk. You look like a clown.
I don't know what happened with that. He was just whoops. I don't know what happened.
Hey, he missed that layup too. I mean, it was, and then he had that turnover, and it happened in that first game too. We got it down to 3 points. We got it down to deficit to 3, and he's up this high risky 3, misses it. Then the very next play, he just fumbles it over and turns it over, and then just sort of like sits there and watches and doesn't get back on defense. I try not to get too emotionally tied up in these things because I understand that these is rich people problems. All of these cats is mostly millionaires, and I'm not. So, if they're not interested in the thing, I'm not going to get too interested in the thing. But, I still am a big Laker fan, and I'm rooting for my team.
I think LeBron is shaving points.
Wow. What a large accusation, man.
Yeah, I ain't going to do that. Man. I know he definitely does not want to look like a clown, and I know that he acknowledges it and sees what the problem is, and, I'm sure it hurts him a whole lot more than it hurts me.
All right. Well, them Nuggets was playing. That Jokic was playing pretty good. We'll see what they do tonight.
Yeah, number one seed for a reason.
I don't know if it hurts him more than it hurts me because I've been a Laker fan longer than he been alive, so I don't know. That's what it is.
Yeah, but when you're the one that's making the mistake, man, it hits a little bit different. I'm not talking about wanting to win. I'm just talking about being the person that's costing you.
All right. Well, speaking on basketball, we're gonna move to our next one, Mr. Nice Guy.
Where was the subject?
Ja
Morant. Oh,
okay. Now, I want to apologize because in the promotion of this show, I said Morant. And, it's not our place to be insulting our brothers like that. So let me go on the record for apologizing for putting it out there like that. His name is Ja Morant. So let's get into it and speak up. What's going on with him, Mr. Nice Guy?
Well, I'll say this, too. Let me start off with a personal apology myself. Because, the internet has been piling on this dude, rightfully so, because, what you got in trouble for not too long ago. And this is absolutely putting your career in jeopardy. Not the rest of your career, but a big chunk of it. You're going to lose a whole bunch of money behind this. So there's some responsibility that he needs to claim, knowing that there's going to be this fallout. That having been said, a dear friend of mine, Timothy Collier, pointed out a brilliant post or a brilliant comment on a post that I posted about it on Facebook. And he was saying that, look, white people take pictures with guns all the time. You have all these military, the lady that we're just talking about, MTG, she's got pictures holding guns. They talk about their constitutional rights, and it's a big contentious argument about, gun rights. And they salute this, that they're not held to the same standard we are. This guy's being criminalized and considered a thug because he has a gun, but they're being considered patriots and strong for having a gun. And it's hypocritical for us to even do this. So I've completely changed my whole position on all of this stuff. I think this is nonsense. We need to move beyond this.
I disagree with you, Mr. Nice Guy, completely. When you talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene and these other people holding guns, they're not in the club or not driving in the street, down the streets, and, being a danger, appearing to be a danger or a nuisance. Who riding up the street, pulling out a gun, waving it while they friend on Instagram line? That looks so childish and reckless. It's not the same as going to the shoot. If he was at the shooting range, training somebody how to shoot a gun, perfectly fine. But you're sitting there waving the gun. Look at this. Come on, man.
Look, it may look like some sucker stuff, but they do this at protests. They do this. They don't have these guns just like in their home or whatever. I'm telling you, they are proud. They're walking around with these things. So whether the fact that they're waving it like this or holding it to the side like some dummy, it's the same whether it's you're holding it on your holster. The bottom line is you're basically celebrating and putting this out there when, to me, a gun is something that should be out of view. I understand that legally you need to put it in view for the safety of cops and people know you have a gun, but I'd rather people not know I have a gun because I think it's a confrontational thing.
Mr. L. Poole, what's your take on this shit, man? Come on.
Didn't Alec Baldwin just shoot somebody with a gun? Yep. He didn't lose all that much money.
So did.
It is. It's a double standard. But the thing is, he is young. He's influential. He's a celebrity. He has a responsibility. He has a whole lot of kids watching him, and everything that he does is going to be scrutinized. You got to consider all this. And plus, you lost X amount of millions the first time, and you went and did it again. I mean, come on now. You need his ass whooped. He really does.
He's a repeat offender.
Yeah. He needs a daddy. He's still a young man. He needs his daddy.
That's ouch. That's the fallback situation. I mean, there's gonna be fallout from this. So that I always think about when you evaluate your activity, your behavior, you got to think about what I'm gonna do and what's gonna fall out because of it. What the outcome's gonna be, and there's gonna be a big hit that he's gonna take on it. So what you got to say about?
Wait, hold on. Educate me on this before you actually go on. Didn't his mama have something to do with some of this behavior?
So the story goes, she was in the mall, right? And she was offended or something, was insulted or something by a young man that works in the shoe store called The Finish Line, right? She gets on the phone and call her son, and he comes up to the mall with a few of his goons, and they chase the dude around the store. He saved himself by running in the back and locking the door.
Wow, so that was the first incident. That's incident. Yeah. Look,
wait a minute. Let's get a woman's perspective. Would you do this with your son, Lady J?
No, I'm not even gonna sit up there and put my children out there like that. For what? It's not even worth it. It's like stupidity at its finest, and now I see where it's coming from. Fall far from the tree. If you didn't learn from the first time, it's just pure stupidity. I'm not sure what brownie points he's trying to earn by if he wants to pretend like he's on the hardcore gang. I'm not sure what his motive is, but if he hasn't learned the first time, he's not gonna learn the second time. There's a thing called 3 strikes and you're out. Maybe he's looking for his 3rd strike so he could be canceled out completely with his mama's help.
Do any of y'all remember what the punishment was this last time? Was it like 5 games or something?
It was 8 games. 8 games. And he makes a lot of money. So when he misses 8 games, he loses a ton of money. And he's going to lose way more than 8 games this time.
This time it's going to have to be more than 8 games.
Oh, I'm telling you right now, I'm going on record that I think he's going to miss half a season. A lot of people think he's going to miss the whole season.
So half the season, that's about 40 games?
40 is 42 games. 40 is 41 games is half a season. It's 82 games in the season. That's going to be a ton of money. He's already Nike hasn't abandoned him, but they're not like actively selling his shoes or promoting his stuff. So he's dealing with fallout. But I mean, you got to know what's going to come about it. So I'm not trying to undercut or underscore or to play down the issue here. I don't like black people promoting and singing about guns. I don't like people rapping about it and doing it in their videos. But that having been said,
if he get that amount of time, that's gonna give him time to work on his shooting name game at the gun range.
But you as a celebrity, you can't be going up to the mall. I mean, that's crazy talk. I mean, my mother would not even want me to find out if somebody did something like that because I'm not gonna go up there with no goons.
I'm gonna call a spade a spade. That's moronic.
True. But again, what I'm saying is that black people get a different standard with guns than white people get their standard with guns. And not only that, when we talked about President Trump talking about that cop who shot that insurrector, that woman was part of he called him a thug. And this is my point that, black people get graded differently. Just that clip, that picture that we showed you with MTG and that black dude, she felt threatened by him. She called him a thug. And what was threatening to him was his blackness. And we know that that's what it is. It's our blackness. That's what makes the cops get scared because, our blackness.
Didn't Trump call that prosecutor Bragg a thug?
And these are dog whistles.
Yeah, the Bragg from New York.
And these and they're not even just dog whistles, as some people point out. These are bullhorns. I mean, it's hypocritical, and we're not just getting it on that. We're getting it on the AI side. I don't know if we're at the halfway mark. We want to go to the shout outs, but we're gonna put a pin on that and talk about. We're gonna talk about some things Walk ain't here, but we're gonna talk about this Forbes article. But let's go into the shout outs. I'm sorry, I cut you off guard.
All right, we're gonna do our little shout outs. I got the some commercials and the brewer. Let me see which ones I got here. Let's start off with our favorite, our number one supporter, Mr. La Brea Truck, and let's go. Yeah, call that number if y'all need some trucking delivery cross country, cross state lines, wherever he goes cross country. Then our next one, let me see, what do I got here? Let me do this one. This one, this is a good friend of mine. He owns a bar out here. He just bought him and his business partner. It's called the Score Bar over here off of Franklin, Florin, and Franklin, I believe. But Score Bar. Everybody knows. Yeah, it's a bar that it's a black owned bar. Black owned. If you want to hold events there like parties, they have Super Bowl or big games there. Just go. That's the bar to go to.
And that's in Sacktown.
Yep, in Sacramento, California. All right, and then we get back to locals. Toppy Wappy, Toppy Wappy Music. Log on to his YouTube page. Check out his music. We got the Buddy Bud, the King of Dina. Check out his music, and he got show dates. You can see the show dates he got posted and things of that nature. I think he got a new project coming out also. And then who else we got? Muhammad's Meat out there in Oakland doing their thing. Shout out to Muhammad's Meats. Any other shout outs?
Yeah, we're going to talk about the Homies Way Car Club, JC. We're also going to talk about how you got to bring out the Wakusu, the wake up, clean up, stand up, Floyd X and Gangsta Reese. And, Tunnel Vision and Kilo 2. And I like to shout out gobealive.org.
Cool.
Black Honey.
Cool. Any shout outs, First Lady?
Shout outs to us for holding it down. How about that?
Hey, you know what? I want to give a shout out to for real. I want to give a shout out to Third Eye for the great designs.
That's right. Third Eye. Shout out to Third Eye.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to First Lady and my nephew for making the Dean's List too.
Thank you.
My First Lady is a celebrity. She got recognized on the streets. They're like, ain't you First Lady from the Focus Up Show?
Thank you, nephew. Congratulations to you too.
All right, so ready to move on?
All right. So I want to talk about this Forbes article before we get into the Gabrielle Union thing. Okay, so this Forbes article that was just pointing out that a lot of these banks are using AI technology to evaluate, whether to give a loan. And it turns out that they were showing that Black people, there are 80% more chance of being rejected by like white people with the exact same financial dynamics. So you're talking about even in AI, we're being discriminated and biased against. They were talking about even in Chicago, it was like 120%. And then, obviously it was like 40% for Native, for Latinos. And I don't remember what the percentage for Native Americans, but the fact of the matter is that the problem with AI is still a function of its programming. And if the bias is programmed in it, it's going to play out. So, we have so many AI concerns all over the board. And the fact of the matter is there's that one more issue that we need to be concerned with right there. So that's tough.
I don't know why you're so surprised, because even in the afterlife, we're going to be discriminated against. That's why Tupac made a song called I Wonder If Heaven Got a Ghetto.
All right. So that's all I want to say about that. Anybody else? First Lady, you got anything you want to say about that?
No, I'm glad we're America's most hated. Everybody really wants to be like us, though. But remember, we're the only one that can reduce our race. I just want to put that out there. There's no other like us. You know, we can mix with any other nationality, and at the end of the day, you're still going to be what?
Black
Black.
baby.
And we can make any color baby too.
Right, so they can hate on us.
Well, at least a woman can.
I don't know. They might be working on something for you fellas.
All right.
I'll be long gone.
So on that note, we want to move over to talk about the 50-50 split.
Hold on. Before you do that, bro, let me do my intro. Not talk about 70-30. Not talk about 50-50.
All right.
So you should probably frame this because I have a different understanding of what you. I mean, I'll frame it if you want.
Go ahead.
So as I understand, we're going to talk about 50-50 love. And in the situation with Gabrielle Union and D Wade, you know, she says they split the bills 50-50. And some people feel a certain type of way about this. They feel like the man should pay the majority. And, you know, they also feel like he should be the head of the household. And I feel that whether you split the bills 50-50, that's not a determinant of whether a person is the head of the household. It's just a financial accounting type situation. So I support doing whatever makes sense to you financially, but I also take the position that, you know, you can't have too many chefs in the kitchen. You can't, you know, partnerships don't work in business because someone has to be able to make a hard decision when the people disagree. So that's why I believe in the head of the household. But
what's that last you said? You believe in what?
I believe that there should be a head of the household.
Okay.
And, you know, and you know, I'm definitely of a more traditional situation where the head of the household should be the man if he is of the competence and understanding to hold that role down. I mean, at the end of the day, the person who's best suited for a role should be the person performing that role. And, you know, I would think that would tend to be the man just from a physically stronger point and all these other situations. But look, I've observed that some men ain't really got it together. And if their women's got it more together, sadly, I defer in those situations.
All right. So we're talking about here Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade, the basketball superstar phenomenon out of Miami Heat, from that legendary Miami Heat team with him and LeBron and Bosh. All right, and right there was the big rave in the community was, how is she talking about 50-50 split? She's making it hard out here for her sisters because now men gonna be expecting us to pay 50-50 and they deal is this is what all the rave was about, First Lady. This is what
your body language. You tell me.
It was a big rave. They were like, she knows she's out there and making us look bad and whoopty whoop. I'm not paying no 50-50. We go out to eat. They gonna have to pay taking me. He invited me out to dinner. That's the whole rave about. So it was a big rage out there about the 50-50. Me personally, I didn't have a problem with the whoa, First Lady. Did you wear that shirt for it says 50-50? Whoa.
That's 50, but I'm like,
whoa. First Lady came ready for the show with props and everything. Whoa. First Lady. Man, all right, so 50-50. They talking about 50-50. Should men and women go 50-50 on the bills? And my issue wasn't with that. I'm thinking I'm with Mr. Nice Guy. It's talking about as far as the head of the household. And, you know, in the clip I saw, I'm going to play this clip for y'all. And he interpreted one way, I interpreted the other way. I'm going to play it for y'all and let y'all decide, see what y'all see. Let me cue this clip up real quick, and we'll continue on from there.
To find peace in the journey, not using my anxiety and scarcity mindset to be my engine, which is hard. It's weird to say I'm head of household because in this household, we split everything 50-50. But in the other households that each of us have to support, it puts there's always this like gorilla on your back that it is like, you better work, bitch. You better work. You better work.
All right, I think that's good enough. the context of it in the sense of what I got from it is that she was saying she's the head of the household. Is that what y'all get from it?
Yeah, what I got from it, she's saying that in the situations where she was, where it wasn't 50-50, she was the head of the household. But she's not saying that she's the head of the household that D Wade is a part of. That was my interpretation of that.
So if y'all go ahead, First Lady.
I didn't really get that she said she was or she wasn't. It sounds like she said it's weird to say it, but she kind of like feels like she is.
That's what I get.
Weird to say it because they split it 50-50. That's what I heard her say. That it's weird to say it, but up here, that's her thought. That's what she's thinking. That she is the head of the household, but she can't just say it. How are you ahead if everything is 50-50? So that's what I got out of it. I have much more to say about my whole 50-50 situation.
Okay.
And I would love to just like straight out dive into it. If that's okay. So my take.
Wait. Let's get we gonna get you, but let's get Mr. El Poo real quick in there. What's your take on it?
I believe she's the head of the household. He's handpicked, and I can prove it. Ask me how.
How?
Because of his son daughter.
Son daughter. Wow. He said son daughter. Okay. So real quick, First Lady, I want to say I agree with you, but I want to put this out here real quick. Can you be the head of the household if y'all are 50-50?
That's why I think she was saying it's weird to say it. You get what I'm saying? Because that's how she started off. It's weird to say I'm head of household because we split the bed 50-50. That's why I said in her mind, she is head of the household, but it's hard to say because how can you say it if it's 50-50? It doesn't make sense to the outside people. So she tried to be selective with her words, but at the same time, that slip up is there. You feel like you're the head of your household.
And at the same
out of it.
And at the same time in saying that, she's also saying that he's not the head of the household.
Right.
Yeah.
If that's what she's saying, because you guys are missing that other part where she goes in the other households that which there was a whole other comment. She talks about, she goes, it's kind of weird to say head of the household. She goes, comma, in this house we're 50-50, but in the other households.
So you take that.
I thought she was talking about like people in general outside, in other households, like your household, my household, this household, it may be done a different way, but in this household, it's like that.
Nice guy.
That's a valid interpretation.
Nice guy. It sounds like you looking at it when she's speaking in past.
Well, no, because she said the other households that we support. So she's talking about there's other households.
Play it, please. I'm sorry.
Let's go. All right.
Maybe we all missed something.
Yeah.
The work is coming, and I just, as long as
am I going to have enough to it's coming, like, calm down. It's weird to say I'm head of household because in this household, we split everything 50-50. But in the other households that each of us have to support, it puts there's always this like gorilla on your back.
So how do y'all interpret
she's saying in the other households, it puts that gorilla on our back that we need to be the head of the household. That's how I interpret that.
In other households that they have to support. What's she talking about? The dollhouse for the little boy?
Well, I mean, because she, without listening to the interview, I just happen to know that she felt like she could cheat on her previous husband or whatever because she felt like she was the moneymaker, so she had the rights to do whatever she wanted. So she already established that she was an alpha in that relationship. But she's saying in this, she's saying in this situation, she's not that type of an alpha. But I mean, she may be the alpha. I'm not saying that she's not. I think you guys have a valid interpretation of what she's saying.
Yeah.
Her and Jada Pinkett need to just do interviews about movies.
How
about their relationship?
Yep. I know my wife used to always tell me anything with two heads is a monster.
All men are monsters.
It's a great concept. It's a great concept. Yeah. But First Lady, you wanted to go into some things. We probably said enough to get out of your way to say what you want to say.
I just really want to say as far as 50-50, It's okay to split the bills 50-50 if that's how your income falls. If that's what makes sense and that's what works for your household, so be it. Me personally, I will go by whoever makes the most money, maybe that person. If the mortgage is the highest, then you pay the mortgage and I'll pay all the utilities. You have to do what works best for you and your household. And it's splitting the bill 50-50. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, I'm still going to give that man the head of the household title. When you go fill out applications, you have an applicant and you have a co-applicant. When you're on a plane, you have a pilot and you have a co-pilot. When you're on a boat, you have a captain and a co-pilot. So everybody can't be the same. You can split the bills equally, but still give that man his title. And if you feel like you the breadwinner and you feel like that you need to wear the pants in the house, then you stay in that house by yourself. Don't bring a man into that situation, especially if you're going to shame him in front of everybody, and he's going to allow to be shamed. If you just stay by yourself. That's all I really have to say. But if I had to pay 50-50, I will. I wouldn't have a problem, but that doesn't mean that I'm above him. It's just based on how our income is flowing in the house at the moment. I don't have a problem with splitting bills in half if I need to. We might be making the same exact amount of money. Go ahead.
Let me ask you this, First Lady. If you was with a man and you was paying 75% and he was paying 25%, can you still look at him as the head of the household?
I can still look at him as the head of the household. If he's doing around there putting the other work in the house, if he's doing the yard, he's doing the repairs, he's standing up to a man, he's still treating me like I'm a queen or whatnot. You know why? Because I chose him. If I brought him in that household like that, it's for a reason. So why sit up there and belittle him and take his crown from him just because my money is more? I chose him, I put him there, but if he's doing everything else, financially, he may not be able to put in, but he can put in all the other areas where a man's supposed to put in too.
Gotcha.
Horn.
Got you, First Lady.
What were you about to say, Floyd? Was you about to comment on that?
Nope.
What you got to say about that, El Pooh?
Wait, Floyd did have to say.
I agree with you. I agree. Everything you said made perfect sense to me, First Lady. We gave you the horn.
That's rare. Look, I'm acting like walk down. That's rare. We didn't shoot him down.
I had nothing to say, except I agree.
Yeah, that was a great point, especially about you talk about the if one person is making more than the other person, it's a function of it doesn't necessarily need to be 50-50. The bottom line is someone makes a little bit more, they can pay a little bit more. But if you're just allocating it based on finances, it's just numbers, it's just accounting. So that's for real.
I don't believe she's paying 50-50 because I think he made way more money than she ever made in her career and making right now. And I think he's still making more money than she's pulling in.
Yeah, he's like an owner of the Utah Jazz. He's like making money off the Utah Jazz. He's the owner of the Utah Jazz. So
and she's a has-been. She's like,
hey, she stopped that.
She's an actress.
She's doing some. I saw a B movie in her just recently.
Actress, come on, El Pooh.
Okay, B-list then. Okay,
you just hating now. You just hating.
I ain't hating. I'm telling you the truth, man. You think she can pay 50% of what?
El Pooh hate black women. No. I'm bullshitting. That's what it means.
Megan. It's called Megan.
I'm bullshit.
But their expenses may be like kind of set. So I don't know. But she does. Look, she's gonna get a lot of heat, and so is Jada. It's kind of a shame, but they do kind of put themselves in there to kind of earn that. Jada kind of even more. It's a shame what Will Smith gets behind all of that stuff. That stuff really disturbs me. I hate this whole simp mentality, this whole concept of like him and I forget the quarterback from used to be with the Seattle Wilson, and now he's with the Broncos.
Russell Wilson.
I hate to see black men get clowned for supporting a woman or being aligned with a woman.
The situation is you have men who are old school men. I'm not gonna say toxic men because I don't believe in no toxic masculinity. You got men who are like, man, I'm a goddamn man. This is what I'm gonna do. I got this. I'm the head of this house. That's the opinion. And when they look at somebody like Russell Wilson, look at this little P word or whatever. It's a so far from how they would conduct themselves with a woman that it bothers them. You know what I'm saying? The extreme, like, look at this shit. It's so nice to like. Sometimes I look at dudes, be like, I was on the cruise one time. This black dude was on his phone holding his girl. She was a big sister, a big, not chunky. She was big, like in stature. She walking, he a little dude. He had his finger wrapped around her belt. This is no bullshit. And he was looking on his phone. Wherever she go, that's where he was going. He was facing the phone. That looked like some simp punk mess to me. And I was like, that looks so disgusting. You know what I'm saying? And it's that those type of situations that men that out here that we look at like, man, if that was my son, I'd pop him aside his goddamn head. You know what I'm saying? So I understand it. And then to get to back to the middle of this 50-50 for some men, that it's unbelievable that it's men out here that would allow their women to pay 50% of the bills. And it's understandable. I understand their view. Do you agree with that? Anybody?
Hey, what's hers is yours and yours is his. So to me, I always feel like this is a function of accounting. This is accounting. How you're attributing this to that, whatever. It's all of your money is your money. So it's like a family, the corporation. So it's the corporation's assets they'll be using. Whether you have this sister company or this whatever company, I mean, it's strictly just how you manipulate your ledger. But at the end of the day, it's basically the totality of the resources of the totality of your family being spent on the totality of the expenses that relate to that family. So to me, I'm not going to be caught up on how individual things are allocated, especially as long as we understand the authoritative structure as far as, you know, those decisions that have to be made when we don't agree.
All right, let's go deep now. Let's do a deep dive. You ready, Elpo? You ready for the deep dive? Let's do a deep dive. We are all parents here, right? And let's focus on our daughters. Which would be the preferable choice? The man who could pay all the bills and your daughter has the option to work if she wants to or not, and it's not going to affect the comfort in the household, or the man who can only afford to pay 50 and your daughter is going to have to work till she's in her 60s. Which would be the preferable choice of man for your daughter?
What makes her happy?
That's the one you choose.
If she's really happy with this dude, and and they have a loving relationship, he's not abusing her or taking advantage of her, I'm all for it. If that's what she likes, hey, I love it.
Yeah, that's the most important thing, happiness, the compatibility. The fact of the matter, my daughter is just now celebrating that she just bought like a multi unit, whatever. So she's not only bought a house for herself, but she's going to be a landlord. It's got, apartments and stuff like that. She's got her own, clinical, I forget what they call it, the social worker. She's a consultant, whatever. So she got her own personal business. She's got her own real estate. Her fiance's got his own real estate. So they're going to be married in October. But I say all that to say that she's in a position of strength where she's not dependent on it, but she has the combined resources of his strength and his resources, so that they are a better unit together. But she's strong by herself.
Position of strength. What do you mean by that?
Position of strength is having your own resources. That means that if someone decides to say, you know what, F you, I'm walking out tomorrow, how are you going to be able to eat the next day? If someone's sitting there basically cutting your check and you don't have anything other than what somebody's given to you, what do you do if they just bounce tomorrow? That's okay. What independence and strength is.
We're back to that working out.
It's not fair. It's not fair. It's reality. It's not fair.
I'm not about to let you two go back and forth. I'm gonna jump in and answer the question, and I'm gonna put my own twist to it. This is my take. It would be my daughter's preference because happiness is a choice in life. What I would like my daughter to be with somebody that can provide for her, but I would also like for her to work as well. And the reason why I say that it's not just about being independent. What if her husband was to get sick or fell ill, because it happens in life and we all know that. And it can just be temporary or whatever. At least she still can be able to help contribute to her household. So I do want my child to work, whether she makes more or less money. I don't want her to just be around there and just let him take her, because things happen in life. And that is not about fear. It's a reality when it comes to our health. None of us know what's going to happen when it comes to our health. So that's why I want both of my children, male or female, to still work. So if anyone gets sick, somebody can still contribute. If it's temporary or permanent, it doesn't matter. Once again, the investment is all going into one household.
And I am not a capitalist. I'm a socialist. So all I believe is you having sufficient to survive and working for the rest. So I don't need cushy. I don't want to have no trust fund grandchildren or children or anything like that. I want you. I believe in the toil of the sweat of your brow and all of that stuff. So that's where I'm from. So I'm always going to say, look, I want her to have the better person of those two options. That's what I want.
I'm not a capitalist or a socialist. I'm a revolutionary. Kill the man. Not just playing.
Okay.
That answer your question? Did we deep dive enough of that for you, brother Floyd X?
Yeah.
Do you still think that's fair?
What?
I'm just saying that what we're saying. I mean, I'm talking about when I say do something from a position of strength, I'm just saying fortify yourself, not be worried about, hey, this, that, and the other. I'm just saying if I know that I'm going to do something, I'm going to put myself in a position of strength where I have to depend on others for less. But yes, go ahead. I'm saying, but I appreciate you made a great comment saying that, look, we're stronger together. We're interdependent. That's a beautiful concept, and I support that. But to me, interdependence is a great follow-up beyond independence.
Beyond independence, I just think that in these relationships, I think the whole reason that people are getting divorced and the divorce rate is like 60% or something like that is because she has her power, he has his power, and they just butt heads back and forth. Because you gonna do this, well, I could do that, and there should be, and this is it's in a respectful. It's not a man putting his foot down. Somebody has to win, and a woman, in my opinion, should want to be married to a winner, even if he wins against her. It shouldn't be like, oh, you gonna do that? Well, I'm gonna do this. And now we in divorce court fighting over what we had together, and it's just a battle. And then they separate, and now they're just enemies because one couldn't submit to the other, in the sense of not talking about, oh, take an ass whooping and he punching you, just take it because you're the weaker one. No, it's a respectful manner. Like, listen, this is what we're gonna do. This is the direction we head in this household. I believe a woman should follow that and let that man lead. If he's a good, honorable, respectable man, is what I'm saying.
That's a good point right there. Don't forget that part, because some of these cats are not equipped to be a leader. So that's what I'm saying. I don't. To me, that you should not just be arbitrarily given out without consideration. If you're not in a position of strength financially or maturity, then maybe that's not
You
your.
should be married to that person.
Yeah, that's that too.
Right. We all pick and choose, and after so long before marriage, you pretty much know your individual and who you have. To me, I feel like a lot of these relationships fail because of the communication. Nobody is really like just listening, especially if you're already married.
The communication between who?
If you're married, you're talking about with their marriages or whatnot. Sometimes you can say women, whatever, they may not just take the time to really just like listen. Everybody just want to speak. Sometimes people need to take the time and whatever, even if it's you, the husband, if you can just write it out. Sometimes people can't really see what you're thinking or what you're speaking until it's in black and white. The same in school or whatnot. When you see that material in black and white, you get a better understanding of it. And in my household, I teach my kids as well as myself. I can think something all day long and speak, but until I see it in black and white, now I'm changing, I'm modifying things or whatnot. And I feel like sometimes as couples, if you sit down and do things like that together, and then you're not only hearing what your man is saying or hearing what your man is saying, you're seeing it. And I feel like there a lot of relationships can be changed and saved, if you ask me. And like you said, you need a man that has some sense. So if you choose to get somebody that's not sensible or that can't lead in that right direction, why marry that person? Because you know that in advance. My pet peeve is hearing women talk so bad about their husbands and their men's, but these are the things that they were doing beforehand. You cannot change them. You should have been working on that. Y'all trying to change and better beforehand. So marriages to me fail for multiple reasons. Yes, you want the man to be a leader, whatnot. I think you should hear each other out. And you're right, Mr. X. Someone has to win. If there's a debate or a battle or whatnot, and there's a tie, what you do? People do tiebreakers, right? Everybody doesn't get first place.
Yeah.
Tiebreakers.
That's a good point. That's a good point. That's
Can I
great.
just conclude it with one thing? Women and men, stop talking about your relationships and your finances and stuff like that. Here's a lesson much greater than wealth. Keep your business to you, yourself, and no one else. Stop talking
Amen.
about what's going on, because just work it out. Everybody don't need to know what's going on.
That's true. But when you within your own household, that's just to me a suggestion. You think about it. I'm sure each one of you have thought something and spoke something and then later change your mind. Or if you write it down on paper and create an outline or something, you're gonna modify and make changes. What you thought or what you spoke may not be as good as you assumed it would. But when you put it in black and white, you make changes.
That's right.
That's why you have drafts, rough drafts, and so forth or whatnot, and you make modifications. So that's where communication just doesn't come verbally.
Another level of the communication is the communication between the parents and the children. We have to communicate to our children of the necessity of being in a marriage in the sense of your roles and how to make that marriage work. And we have to be better communicators of that.
And also remember, children do more watching than they do listening. So they watch what you do more than what they listen to what you say to do.
Now watch this.